On what is already an incredibly busy news night, we now have some new breaking news from the Wall Street Journal. Tonight's scoop, which came out just a few minutes ago, involves Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein, who is overseeing the special counsel investigation. The Wall Street Journal has just reported in the last few minutes that Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein has been interviewed by the special counsel, Bob Mueller. Quoting from the Journal, this is the lead of their piece tonight. Special counsel Robert Mueller's office has interviewed Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein about President Donald Trump's firing of former FBI Director James Comey. They're citing people familiar with the investigation. The interview, which occurred in June or July, presents the unusual situation of investigators questioning the person who is directly overseeing their investigation. This is an unusual circumstance. I mean, one of the things the special counsel, Bob Mueller, is reportedly investigating is whether the firing of FBI Director James Comey was an effort on the part of the president to obstruct justice by trying to interfere with the Russia investigation. The president has publicly admitted that the Russia investigation was on his mind when he fired FBI Director James Comey. Rod Rosenstein was obviously intimately involved in the firing of James Comey, since the White House cited his memo about Comey's behavior to justify the firing. We have been asking repeatedly over the last several months whether Rod Rosenstein would have to recuse himself from overseeing this part of the investigation, since he appears to be a key witness, or at least a key part of that investigation. Now we know from the Wall Street Journal that reportedly, according to the Journal's sources, he was interviewed by the special counsel's prosecutors about that matter, while he himself continued to oversee their investigation. Do you think he ordered the prosecutors to interview himself? This is weird, right? Joining us now is Barbara McQuade, former U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of Michigan. Barbara, it's really nice to see you. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thanks, Rachel. Glad to be here.
This new news from the Wall Street Journal, I know you're just absorbing it, just as we are, because it just came in. It strikes me, before this, it struck me as strange that Rod Rosenstein would be overseeing this investigation when he was an important potential witness to the obstruction of justice part of it. It strikes me as even more weird now that we know that this investigation he's overseeing interviewed him about this matter. How does this strike you?
I agree with you. I mean, ordinarily, you can't be both a party to a case and a witness to a case. So it would be very difficult for him to supervise a case where he is going to be a witness. You would expect him to recuse himself, but because this happened by the report in June or July, it may be the case that he was interviewed and Robert Mueller takes the position and Rod Rosenstein takes the position that it's very unlikely that he would be called as a witness at any trial. So, you know, there are many people who get interviewed during an investigation just to close that investigative avenue and you move on to something else. But in light of what we know about the contradictions that President Trump himself made about first saying that it was the Rosenstein basis with how Comey handled the Clinton email matter that was the basis for the firing, and then contradicted himself in saying to Lester Holt that it was the Russia thing, you would think that Rod Rosenstein would be a key witness. But I have a lot of confidence in Rod Rosenstein. I know him. He was the U.S. Attorney in the Obama administration and in the Bush administration. He is a career professional who knows the rules and I think abides by the rules. And so it may be that he and Mueller do not see him as a critical witness down the road.
And I wonder also if it's possible that they have a lot of witnesses to this particular part of the investigation, and they've decided that they can proceed without testimony from Rosenstein because they can simply get testimony from so many other people about it. I mean, I guess there's no reason for us to speculate on this. We'll find out if and when they ever bring charges in this matter or make a public statement. But this is a remarkable development. One of the other developments today, Barbara, is that we have learned that the president and his son have both had the fees for their personal lawyers who are representing them on the Russia matter paid for by the Republican National Committee and by the Trump re-election campaign. Is it clear that that's a legal use of those funds?
Well, I think it is. I'm not sure it's clear. You know, like so many other things, we find ourselves in these uncharted waters in this administration. It is lawful to use campaign funds to pay legal fees for a campaign. I mean, ordinarily that's for things like providing legal advice about federal election laws or disputing a recount, those kinds of things. I'm not aware of a situation where it's been used to pay for criminal legal fees, but it's not prohibited. I think this falls into the category of what we as prosecutors would analyze and ultimately conclude is awful but lawful.
Awful but lawful. Barbara, I have one more question for you about something involving this Paul Manafort reporting, with him being threatened with an indictment, him being reportedly the subject of a FISA warrant. Can you stay with us for just one moment so I can ask you those questions?
Yeah, you bet.
Great. Barbara McQuade, former federal prosecutor. I'll be right back.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.